companies can demonstrate the uses of AI to boost profit margins, I think they'll be rewarded. This boom is changing, it's maturing, but we think it's going to be a key driver of the economy going forward.
Hello, I'm Diego. Today I'm here in Moritz with David Stubbs from AlphaCore. David, thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Can you start for us introducing yourself and tell us a little bit of AlphaCore?
Sure, it's great to be with you, Diego. My name is David Stubbs. I'm Chief Investment Strategist of AlphaCore Wealth Advisory. We are a wealth manager in the United States, but with some clients in different parts of the world as well. And I'm very proud to be here. I think this is the sixth time I've been at this fantastic conference, the Chairmen's Retreat here with the Global Real Estate Institute in Moritz. It's always a highlight of my calendar. It's been a great discussion so far. I'm looking forward to sharing some thoughts there with the viewers.
Thank you. Today, David shared with us a great presentation, and I can say that we have three main takeaways from that. AI, geopolitical issues, and US/Trump. Shall we start with AI? How long before the artificial intelligence booms run out of steam, David?
Well, I think that the investment in AI through data centers, through related energy investments has been an enormous driver of the US economy and of financial markets. The bottom line, we think, is that this is going to continue. It could slow, sure, because it's been such a fast pace. But if you look at how tight data center markets are, and everyone here at GRI is talking a lot about data center markets, we still think that there's a need to build out the data center industry further. There's going to be shortages around energy that will require more investment as well. But I do think that we could be seeing a maturation of this boom, where there's a little bit more difference and discerning behavior in markets between the winners and the losers of the direct AI plays. And then I think also when companies can demonstrate the uses of AI to boost profit margins, I think they'll be rewarded. So this boom is changing, it's maturing, but we think it's going to be a key driver of the economy going forward.
Amazing. Let's talk about the US now. Can the US economy continue to grow?
I think so, yes. I mean, we saw in the second half of last year some concerns about growth in the US. It was certainly a very volatile year for growth in 2025. You had the volatility around trade with the tariffs, of course. And we've had this unusual situation where much of the economy looks pretty good, output, GDP, but you've had unemployment rising a little bit. And that's created some concerns. Federal Reserve has cut interest rates. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a moment. I think bottom line is the US private sector is very healthy. AI is a continued driver. And there are several tailwinds from federal policy, the one big beautiful bill from last year, for example. Energy prices are reasonably low. Interest rates are under control as well. I don't see what stops the American economy this year.
Okay. And about the Fed, as you mentioned, it will keep cutting the rates in 2026?
Well, markets are expecting 2 cuts. And for me, this is a story, I think, you're either suggesting that the unemployment rate is going to continue to rise, or it's a bet that the next Fed chairman, because obviously we get a new one in the middle of the year, will be a little bit more favorable towards cutting interest rates. I think this group of policymakers would love to keep rates stable until Powell leaves, I think, in May, because I think they believe they've done a sufficient amount. They think the fundamentals are good. And so I think that's what they want to do. I'm just not sure if the labor market will cooperate. So if I had to bet a movement of interest rates, it would be down. But I think if you believe in the fundamentals of the US economy, you don't think that's going to be a huge move.
Okay, in terms of investors, do you think they will start caring about the US budget deficit in 2026?
Well, it's a question I get everywhere I go. We had a discussion here about the fiscal sustainability of the US, but ultimately, no, I don't think that's going to be a big driver, right? If you look around the world, there have been some concerns on debt issues. You see that, I think, in Japan, UK, and France in their bond markets. Look, eventually this is going to matter, but is it going to be a major driver this year? We're betting not. I think it does lead us, though, to be somewhat cautious with bond positioning. We think there are better places for capital than taking on a lot of interest rate risk right now.
Okay, and what the market can expect from the federal policy in 2026 as America is heading to two pools.
Yeah, it's a midterms coming in November. That usually means that nothing happens a few months before that. We're going to see some activity earlier in the year. There's obviously big issues on the table around trade and around healthcare as well. I think the big picture is, though, for domestic policy, the biggest shifts have already happened. Those big shifts, mainly about the One Big Beautiful bill. And so I would expect markets to start to focus and maybe worry about the elections a little bit in the middle of the year. It is quite common for markets to, around political events, to want to just see the result and then usually deal with whatever the election comes. So we don't think that the elections are a barrier to markets this year, but could they create some volatility? Sure.
Great. And international markets, what we can expect?
Well, last year was fantastic for international markets, a big increase in valuation as investors sought out some alternatives to the US. There was obviously the currency impact as well. The dollar was weak last year. I think it's kind of a prove-it moment for international markets. Earnings growth wasn't as strong as some people expected. Unlike the US, had another great year. I think it all depends on investor positioning. If you have overly concentrated in the United States, we think there are some great options outside, both in public markets and private markets.
Amazing. David, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks again.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.